Welcome to this explainer. Look, I am absolutely thrilled you're here today because we need to tackle a massive issue that is just devastating builders and power users right now. If your workflows rely heavily on consumer AI plans, your setup is basically a ticking time bomb. But don't worry, we are going to fix it. We're going to walk through exactly how to build a resilient, multi-provider infrastructure to protect your AI workflows from sudden, catastrophic bans. And the best part? We're going to do the whole shebang for roughly $47 a month.
Let's kick things off by anchoring the stakes with this number right here, 3.3%. What exactly is that? Well, that is the dismal appeals success rate for the 1.45 million accounts that Anthropic banned in just 6 months during the second half of 2025. Out of 52,000 appeals filed, only about 1,700 were successful. So the takeaway here is pretty clear. If you get hit with a ban, you are almost certainly not getting your account back. You really don't want to play those odds.
And this translates to real, tangible pain. Just listen to this brutal reality check from a user on Reddit. Quote, just paid $200 for Claude Max. Account disabled. Support says automated usage detected. No refund. 3 weeks of work gone. End quote. Just think about the severe financial and emotional hit of that. Relying purely on a consumer plan for serious automation or agentic research, it's literally like building your house on someone else's land. The second they change the zoning laws, you lose everything.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our survival map. We are going to cover 5 steps today. 1. The ban crisis. 2. The API trap. 3. Building a 4-layer stack. 4. Critical mistakes. And 5. The survival plan.
Part 1. The ban crisis and the end of consumer accounts.
So Anthropic is actively targeting power users, and they're blocking third-party OAuth tools from running on consumer subscriptions. If you're suddenly experiencing blocks on those tools, receiving those automated usage warnings, hitting weird rate limits at 2 in the morning, or dealing with surprise policy shifts, pay attention. Your infrastructure is showing major red flags. It is about to collapse. Recognizing these symptoms early is absolutely crucial. It's your sign that you need to migrate to the API immediately.
Part 2. The API trap and why the raw API will bankrupt you.
When desperate users get banned, panic sets in, and they often switch directly to the API. But this leads straight into a trap of massive bills. It's a stark contrast, right? A fragile $200 consumer plan with unexpected bans versus our resilient, ban-proof $47 a month stack. But here is the secret. The API is just your engine. If you plug into it raw without the right chassis, it runs incredibly hot. You'll end up paying full rack rate for every single token without any optimizations. People easily end up staring down an $1,800 bill in just 3 weeks doing this.
Which brings us to Part 3, the 4-layer infrastructure. This is your new security vault.
So how exactly do we build that chassis? Let's walk through this unbreakable shield layer by layer. First up, you need API-first hosting. You'll utilize tools like Replit for rapid deployment and Hostinger for those heavier workloads. Second, you absolutely must have intelligent routing using Make.com and Light LLM to direct your tasks efficiently. Third, implement multi-provider fallbacks with platforms like Your AI Agent and Manus. This ensures you're never, ever relying on just one AI. And fourth, you need global billing with Wise and Search API to manage your cross-border costs intelligently. Let's look a little closer at the routing and performance side of things.
The absolute core of this operation is the Light LLM proxy. This free, self-hosted open-source routing engine acts as the brain of your entire setup. It centralizes over 100 LLM providers. Think about it. If Anthropic goes down at 2 a.m., Light LLM automatically triggers a fallback to OpenAI or Gemini, and it does this with just a single configuration change. Your agent logic, your code, it doesn't have to change at all. It completely prevents downtime if a single provider fails.
And right alongside that smart routing is caching. A Redis cache is a local data store you can easily run on your hosting or VPS. It saves high-confidence responses from your models. I mean, why would you pay to compute the exact same complex research question twice? You wouldn't. By using a Redis cache, you drastically reduce latency and slash those token costs. In fact, for recurring research queries, this setup hits an 87% cache hit rate. That is just pure savings.
Let's talk financial reality here. For roughly 10,000 agent tasks, our estimated monthly cost is just $47. You've got $7 for Replit Core hosting, $5 for a hosting or VPS to run your Redis cache, $9 for Make.com automation, up to $2 for Wise multi-currency billing, and around $25 to $35 for your light LM routed API costs. You are essentially trading a super fragile $200 consumer plan for a rock-solid, ban-proof $47 infrastructure.
Now, to keep those costs strictly in check, you should integrate these free monitoring tools directly into your intelligent routing layer. Langfuse provides free observability and automatic failure alerts for your API calls. Wise handles multi-currency conversions, which is crucial when you're paying different global API providers without those hidden 3 to 5% bank fees. And SearchAPI.io pulls structured pricing intelligence so your router always knows the cheapest capable model to use in real time.
Part 4. Critical mistakes, or how to survive the minefield. Listen, even with the perfect tools, execution errors can be absolutely fatal. Here are the 3 beginner mistakes that will completely drain your wallet. 1. Using the raw API directly without a cache. We just covered this. It leads to massive waste, sometimes costing thousands of dollars a month. 2. Over-engineering a massive 7-layer system before you even have real traffic. Start simple. And 3, perhaps the most deadly, forgetting to set hard daily spending limits. You absolutely must configure daily budget caps in both the Anthropic console and Light LLM on day 1. If you don't, a runaway agent loop will destroy your bank account overnight.
We also need to talk security protocols. I need you to treat these rules as absolute imperatives. Never ever upload your .env files to GitHub. Make absolutely sure your logs do not expose private API keys. Honestly, a leaked API key in a GitHub log is just as devastating as an account ban. Finally, configure those automatic failure alerts on your API calls using tools like Langfuse. You want to be the first to know if something breaks, not your clients.
Finally, Part 5, the survival plan, execution in 48 hours.
While I highly recommend a weekly plan where you dedicate a full 7 days to rolling out and testing each layer carefully, sometimes you don't have that luxury. Here is an aggressive, chronological weekend timeline if you need to transition to a ban-proof setup right now. Friday night, keep it simple. Create your Replit and Make accounts, get your API keys, and set those hard spending limits immediately. Saturday morning, code your core agent and lock down your .env file. Saturday afternoon, spin up your Hostinger VPS, install the Light LLM proxy, and watch your cost drop as caching kicks in. By Sunday, you are configuring smart routing in Make.com and setting up your global billing in Wise. In 48 hours, you've built a fortress. Before you deploy your new infrastructure to production, please verify every single point on this final checklist. Ensure your Redis cache is active and routing. Confirm your .env file is totally isolated and secure. Double-check that your daily budget limits are hard-coded and actually active. And physically test your multi-provider fallbacks. Turn your primary model off and ensure they kick in smoothly. You now have the exact blueprint to build a resilient, $47 a month AI infrastructure that answers to no single provider's whims. So I'll leave you with this. What was your absolute worst ban experience, and what mission-critical workflow are you going to rebuild today? Take this knowledge, protect your work, and start building. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.